I'm Cash, and welcome back to Cash Talks Football, the biggest YouTube channel in all of YouTube, where we break down all the goals scored from in the Premier League. And today it's Arsenal against Leeds, and there's lots to talk about in this game, actually. And Leeds, because they're a newly promoted club, no one's really going to say anything about what happened in this game. But there's a goal that Arsenal scored that's clearly a handball. If last week's handball was a handball when he's got his arms behind his back going like that, well, this week it's a handball for the Arsenal player just before they score a goal. And it's got to be called out. Now, I disagree on the penalty as well. It's not a penalty. You can have a different opinion on that. That's fine because of the way that you see the game. But on what we're going by, the rules of last week, there's a handball in the build-up to the fourth goal. I'm going to show it to you. It's clear as day. If last week's handball was a penalty. So you can't have last week saying, oh, yeah, that's a penalty, and this week, oh, no, that's not a handball. Well, his hand's up here in this one by his face. So I'm going to show you that, but I'm going to go on show you a little bit about Leeds as well, and a lot of little silly mistakes. It is a welcome to the Premier League for Leeds United, and there's a couple of little things that they do well that, you know what, if this little change here or there, the game changes. But that's the difference at this level, going from, oh, we may score a goal to we've been battered 5-0 with help from the referee. But let's just show you a couple of little points. I'm going to show you this header here from Leeds because it's a decent header. It's a good opportunity. But the striker just doesn't. I don't know who's the striker. No idea who it is. You know me. Don't care about players. I break down team structures, formations, and what they're doing. Irrelevant of the name on the back of the shirt, because you always change your opinion when the name on the back of the shirt is doing something on the ball. And that's not what we do here. Go find a fan channel for that. This is actual proper football talk. So header's coming in from a corner, bump, and it goes straight at the keeper. He makes absolutely quality contact with the ball. It's a good header, except for the fact that it is absolutely dead straight, dump towards the goalkeeper. Right, that's where it's going. Left or right of him, or a proper header down into the corners, which is like so. You all know, if you're trying to do a defensive header, it's up and away. If you're trying to do a attacking header, it's down in the corners. And the reason why you always put it down is because you get ricochets, harder for the keeper to save. There's 100 reasons. Why do you put it up and away? Well, because then you can get underneath it, win the second ball. You've got time to get people around it. So you all know these things. But this is straight down the keeper's throat. Makes it look easy for the keeper. Yeah, he has to push it over the bar. The guy gets a lot of power on that header. And if he actually just puts a little bit more direction anywhere over here, well, to be fair, anywhere there, and it's a goal because it's a quality header, right? Yeah. Keeper's got to make a worldy save, and it's right at him. A little bit left. Left for the striker, right for the goalkeeper, and there's no way on earth that he's actually saving that. I don't know who Leeds' set piece coach is, but he needs to give his little header wobble. Right, this is the reason why. Look at where all the players are facing. Everyone is facing the ball, right? Okay, great. But there's a little problem when you've got 4 players on the back post being marked by 1 player. Clearly, they're going to come in and run into your zones. Oh, but we're doing zonal marking. Yeah. But you're playing Arsenal, so things have to change ever so slightly. You can't have 2 men on the back stick, or there's just too many issues where you're letting people run for free. So why don't you let the players run for free? Well, because it's Arsenal. What do you mean? Yeah, they pride themselves on their set pieces, on the way that they position themselves on their set pieces. So you need to disrupt what they're doing. Okay, you need to disrupt their runs. Make sure that if the delivery is great, exactly in the area it needs to be in, the players trying to run into those zones don't get there in time. None of that happens. It's just pretty much these guys get a free running. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Started out here on the back post. No one has stopped their runs. Boom, 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 boom. Can you see? Now the delivery comes in, and look where you're set. Now, it's all too late. If you're trying to mark a player at this point, the ball's already been played. Okay, so you can't get close enough. You can't get touch tight to make a header. And if the delivery is quality, which it is in this case, it's in the back of the net and you've got no hope. When he headers this, by the way, it's a decent header. You've got to give credit where credit is due. This is a good header into the bottom corner. It's a little glancing, brilliant little header. But it's all about the delivery and the complete lack of defending because no one's even close. Don't look at that. Right into their corner. Brilliant. No one's close enough to properly make a challenge. And they're all flat-footed. Why are you flat-footed? Because you started flat-footed and you've not given yourself any opportunity to track in those runs and actually try to defend it properly. There's 3, maybe 4 players there that just stood, that don't need to be stood. If you're in a situation where you're trying to mark zonal or not man-to-man, because no one marks zonal or man-to-man, everyone does like a hybrid system, we all know that. you have to sort of check yourself a little bit, look around and go, right, this doesn't work, boys. There's too many people free on the back post. We've got to stop some of these people in. Even if you play the old stupid, I'm going to have one player, right, there's one over here, there. I'm going to have two players here. There's a mini wall and they've got to run around those players to get involved. That's enough time, hopefully, to set them. Then these players can track the runs in. It's just something, because that defending was terrible. Speaking of terrible, here's a Leeds United player winning the ball, and all he just needs to do is relax. Doesn't. Has a little touch. Look, he's got two players to the right of him, and he's trying to play a through ball, and they are waiting. It's too poor. Just give it to your teammate. Keep the ball. That's what Leeds are quite good at, moving the ball around. Do it. Keep the ball. Trying to play a little through pass, get a little bit too cocky. Boom. And now you're in all sorts of problems. Now, I want to show you this player's reaction, which I quite like, because how a player reacts is basically how the team feels, really. Okay, you can see sometimes when players lose the ball and they do silly things, they don't really care. They all jog around and whatever. This guy doesn't. You can tell he cares about his football team and his pass he's made, but he also makes another crucial error after this. Here's the next crucial error, and if you're new here, you won't know what I'm talking about, but he's got his hand up telling somebody else what to do, so we know in the next 5 seconds someone is going to score a goal. Yeah, telling someone, oh, the ball's going down the line, oh, get there. Yeah, he just misplayed the pass, and off goes Saka in behind instantly. Boom, off he goes. Doof. Quality little ball. Now, Saka's got options here, but this is the difference between playing someone. Saka's not world class. He's underneath that bracket. He's not like in the world class bracket, but he is getting close. He is pushing on the door of that sort of upper tier players. You've got to be honest. He's not that good, but he is really good. Okay, he's not world class good, but he's kind of good, if that makes sense. He's in that top echelon of Premier League players, but he's not world class. But you know what he does? Tight angle. Could he put it across? But also look at the keeper. The keeper is not big and strong. He's small and narrow. Look how small and narrow he is, and he just rifles it past the keeper. Keeper doesn't make himself big at all. Boom, gone past him before he knows it. Now, what we're looking for is the players' reactions. Gave the ball away. What does he do? Oh, there you see him. Absolutely gutted. Absolutely gutted. You don't mind that because, and here's the other thing. When players make mistakes like this, if you're a coach or you're a manager, you don't need to tell them. They know that they've done what they've done wrong. They know every single little aspect that's gone wrong in this. You don't need to break it down or cut them down or say anything to them because they know. That's a player who knows. He ain't going to make that mistake again. I'll tell you that now. This is honestly something that Arsenal have been missing. Saka's not great at this. Just being able to clip the ball into the channel, let him get run down and create his own, goal-scoring opportunity. A lot of the time is because he's marked very, very differently than other players sometimes as well, and they've got certain things they do to stop him. He doesn't just get a clipped-in ball for him to run down into the channel, cut inside, and smash it into the goal. It's not his real goal. Like that, his last goal we saw when the ball's fed to him and he knocks it in. Yeah, that's pretty much what he does. Not something like this. This adds an extra sort of string to Arsenal's bow of attacking options of whatever their new striker's name is to run in by. But also Leeds, from a tackling point of view, should never let him cut through 3 players and get this shot off in the first place. And they do. 1, 2, straight away. It's too easy. And there's a reason for that. Do you see how they're coming back? And you see how close he's getting. Basically, he negates himself because he's flat. He doesn't realise that he needs to just go a yard further this way. Doesn't sort of understand it. He's too close to the striker. He doesn't need to go on in this position here. Look, there. He wants to be there. And that's where he's running back. He's getting back too close and too quick to the ball. And he hasn't really realised he just needs to be half a step away. So if he does try to go past him, he's there to intercept. Right now, he's not. He's taking himself out of the game because he can't be goal side. If he's 2-3 yards over to his right hand side, he is goal side when that ball comes across, and he can make a challenge. He can't in this respect, and has to let him go past him. Has to let him go past. And honestly, goodness knows how this goes in. Look, you can see 1 player stretching, 2 players stretching. Somehow the ball goes through everybody, and it goes right in, bump to the bottom corner, and the keeper theatrically dives at the end to make it look like he's trying to do something. Yeah, that's a one-man goal right there, and probably Leeds need to give themselves a little check when they're checking back into the box, but they don't over-pursue on the second covering defender, not on the immediate covering defender, because he did a good job trying to hold the ball up. He's allowed to get skipped past because he's the point of pressure. He's expecting that teammate to be behind him and back him up, and the teammate's too flat, doesn't get his angle right, and he goes past both of them at ease. Now, this is that goal-mouth bundle that I'm talking about, where it's a handball, because look where his hand is. It's up here. And you go, oh yeah, but Cash, he's only touching it there. He's not touching it up here. Yeah, well, that's more contact than last week when he had his hands behind his back and it was trying to put his hands behind his back and he was given as a penalty. Now watch it continue on and hit the hand. Watch it continue on, boom, oh, and then he hits the hand and he's trying to pull it away at the last minute. Handball. No one's going to say anything about it because it's Leeds United, and this shouldn't have been a goal allowed at all whatsoever. But because it's not a top club or this is a newly promoted club, everybody is going to ignore that. And poor old Leeds, they have another goal scored against them here. There shouldn't have been a goal because that's a handball. You know it, I know it, we can all see it because of last week's that definitely is. But yeah, Premier League, right? Best refs in the world. When he does poke it in, which is a little bit of a tidy sort of finish, the keeper, it's kind of hard. Look, if he's on his line, he probably saves that. He's too close to react to it. But you can understand why he's moved forward because he's trying to get into the melee, and everyone should have been screaming for a handball on that. I'm so disappointed. And this to me is never a penalty. Does he stand on his foot? Yeah. Is that enough to give a penalty or a foul? No, it's just not. If someone he doesn't really stand on his foot enough as well. Look how much of his toe, he may have caught his little toe. May have caught his little toe there. You're giving this as a penalty? No, just no. If you're giving this as a penalty, this kid, he dives brilliantly. Don't get me wrong. He sells it to the referee. But that little minimal contact there, and he goes, no. No, you just can't give these things as penalties. The game is completely lost. That's someone running over, tiny little touch on the ball. Does he touch him? Yeah. By the letter of the law, would it be a penalty? Yeah. But it's just, you can't give these things for penalties like this, especially when the other team's winning 4-0, right? But that's one of those other things. Oh, but it's not fair. If it is a penalty, you should still give it. Yeah, I get you. But that is a dubious call. If you did a poll, and it also would go down, there's two things you'd have to answer on the poll: your age, and then if you think it's a penalty. Because your age, if you're under the age of say 30, 35, you're going to say that's a penalty. If you're over that age, you're going to go, no way, absolutely no way, it's not a penalty. That's a massive factor in when people sort of make their decisions as well. It's because of the types of football they've grown up and they've seen and the experiences they had in football. Not a penalty. Tell me in the comments if your age and if you think it is a penalty, because I don't think it is. Steps up, knocks it into the net box, and he jogs off. Yeah, we don't care about penalties. I think I'm going to have to do a tally. At some point in the Monday night show, I'm going to start to sort of keep statistics of how many penalties are given for dodgy decisions and legitimate penalties. Because it's also hard to actually go back and see the ones that should be penalties and are not given. Because the Premier League is just a complete and utter mess. But yeah, other than that, I'll see you next time on Cash Talks Football.